is Abdu'l-Baha said that the spirit left the religion of Islam as soon as Muhammad died.
Yes.
Yes. The spirit left
Right.
and the form, only the form was left immediately after he died.
And that's because there was a split immediately.
Yes,
As he lay on his deathbed and he called out for a pen, ostensibly to write a will, and Omar stood in his path and was blaspheming.
And they broke the covenant immediately.
And he knew they were going to do that. So Muhammad did not call for a pen to write a will. He was exposing a traitor. Because he cannot thwart the will of God.
Right. Right.
Okay, now here it says, I saw in the night visions, and behold, like that word, behold, one like the Son of Man came with clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days. And they brought him near before him. So who's this? One like the Son of Man. Jesus said, behold, the Son of Man cometh. One like the Son of Man. Yeah, either the Bab or Abdu'l-Baha. So let's see, let's carry it a little bit farther. And there was given him dominion and glory, Abdu'l-Baha, title is the glorious servant, and a kingdom. He had, Abdu'l-Baha inherited the kingdom of Baha'u'llah, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. That's why I say the station of Abdu'l-Baha is so high. We can never quantify it enough. I mean, the station of His Holiness Bab is great. It's high. He's the, Baha'u'llah refers to him as the king of the messengers. His book is the mother book. He's the prophet of God. He foretold the coming of Baha'u'llah, but he's the herald. He's not Baha'u'llah. He's not Baha'u'llah's son. Yes, ma'am.
Is 14, you're not referring to Baha'u'llah?
Which one? 14?
14. And there was given him dominion and glory?
Okay. You're right, because it's kind of vague. It says, and they brought him near before him, and there was given him dominion. So we don't know who the him is. But Abdu'l-Baha, I'm saying, inherited Baha'u'llah's kingdom. He was his successor. If this is a reference to one like the Son of Man, if that him is him, then yeah, that's good.
The Bob, when you read him, he really speaks to Baha'u'llah, and he talks about it.
Yes. So Baha'u'llah is taken through him. So, like I'm saying, I'm not an authority on this. We all have our own perspective. Yes, sir.
And to answer your question, Abdu'l-Baha says that in the 12th chapter it talks about a child of Revelation. It talks about a child being
man-child.
yes, snatched up into heaven and given a rod to rule all the kingdom.
Yes.
And Abdu'l-Baha says that that's the Baha.
Okay.
And so therefore this
Okay, so this is fulfilled by both of them.
it could be.
We could say, yeah. You know, I was on jury duty once, and the judge was saying, you know, there's two kind of judges. There's letter inners, and there's keeper outers. She was a letter inner. She would let all the evidence in. She wanted everybody to hear about it. So I'm a letter inner. I'd say, you know, if it looks like both of them, it's both of them.
Go back and touch on that 13, you said time. That was a year.
Oh, a season and time?
A season is 3 months and a time
Is 1 year.
so what is that actually referring to?
You know, this is, I'm speculating here.
Okay.
I'm speculating.
Yeah, but
But it looks like it's saying that these other beasts who could be Christians, Jews, and Zoroastrians will still be around for what can calculate to be 450 years, 360 in a time.
450 years after Baha'u'llah or after?
Yeah.
How does 450 come around again?
A time is 360 days, and the day of the Lord is a year. Abdu'l-Baha explained. So a time is 360. A prophecy time is 360 years, and a season, I'm speculating, is 90 days, which is 90 years, or 91. So 90 plus 360 is 450. Again, this is just something interesting that I've observed. That this will be your assignment. Go ahead and try to verify this. So I'm not the only one who's getting into trouble. Okay. But you're right, the Bab and Abdu'l-Baha both fulfill that one like the Son of Man. And the Bab and Abdu'l-Baha, they're both buried in the same shrine. And like that. Yes, sir?
Abdu'l-Baha many times he said, I'm not the Son of Man. In America, they keep asking whether he eternal Jesus Christ. He said, no, I'm not. So eternal.
Right. He's the Son of Baha'u'llah. He's not the return of Christ. Many times he said that. He sure looks like it because Baha'u'llah says he's the Father, and Christ is always saying, I speak not except for what my Father tells me to speak. And Baha'u'llah is speaking through him. So his Father is Baha'u'llah. But the station of the Son of God was the station for Jesus 2,000 years ago. And in fact, Jesus said to his followers that John the Baptist was the return of Elijah. And then they ran to John the Baptist and they said, art thou Elijah? And he said, no. Yeah, because it's not up to, their belief isn't what makes it true. So if someone asks him, is this true? They're saying, is what we believe to be true. And what we believe is really inconsequential, of no merit. Yes, sir?
I'd like to just interject one observation of mine here, in that for Christians, this all becomes a veil because they see Christ as being Alpha and Omega, beginning and the end. The Bible, the Holy Book that was brought, is the beginning and the end, so everything in the Old Testament must be fulfilled by Christ because he is the end, and he is the fulfillment of all prophecy. So you have to be very...
I know, I often say to them, how convenient. You get to read this book forever. Tell everybody what it means. You never get to lose your authority. How convenient. Well, isn't that special? Yes.
Oh, could any of these time frames be interpreted as what's going on in the Middle East today with all these rulers losing their power, like Gaddafi and all the rest of those, and what's happening
Oh,
around
yeah,
the world?
because they're all going to be destroyed. And eventually they're going to say, well, let me go on a little bit farther, because Daniel gets a little more specific. He explains his four great beasts, which are four kings, shall rise out of the earth, meaning their selfish desires shall overthrow their religious teachings. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. And then he says, now this fourth beast, which again he describes as the breaking in pieces and stamping the residue with his feet. Again, this is not a speech impediment or another beast. It's an emphasis that how this beast is going to be evil. And he says, and of the 10 horns which are in his head, and another which came up, before him 3 fell. And a lot of scholars, I'll get to your question in a minute. A lot of scholars say, fell by the sword. Now, it doesn't say fell by the sword, but they think there's going to be a king in Europe who is going to kill 3 other kings and then stamp everybody in the head with 666. Okay, I saw in the same horn made war with the saints, so all of the descendants of Moabiah will defeat the saints until the Ancient of Days comes. And here again, Ancient of Days is foretold to defeat the beast. Judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. I think this is a reference to the hands of the cause, because there was that interregnum period where there was no guardian, there was no house of justice, and they were the ones who were the chief stewards of the faith for those 6 years for the last of the 10-year crusade. Yes, sir.
I have a very, it's a question that always bugs me, because I've always wanted to, okay, there's some people who come,
right.
Their heart and their souls were turned to the message, the good news and all of that, and they became Christians and Muslims of this. So what I'm trying to ask is, when does this become very important?
Interesting question. Because a lot of people, through the love of God
Yeah,
in their heart, embrace Baha'u'llah or Muhammad or Jesus.
yeah.
I guess it is important to the followers of the Christianity or Muslims that because they're waiting for the promised one, return of Christ. So in that sense, it becomes important to them.
It depends.
In fact, the whole church is based on prophecy and
Yeah.
adherence to prophecy.
Right, that's good. There are a lot of Christians, evangelists that, you know, talk about prophecies and when it's going to happen, and this is a way to show them, by the way, it happens sooner than you think. Yes, sir.
But I think when they're foretelling the coming of return of Jesus or Muhammad, they think that an individual is going to come to their specific sect and say,
Yes.
you guys are the ones that got it right,
Yes.
and let's keep on doing what you're doing forever. You know. So
In fact, I asked a Christian priest just the other day, when Jesus Christ returns to rule all nations, and that's the quote from the Bible, will he also rule over the Christian priests? That is to say, will they abandon their wealth, their name, their position, their authority, their following, their interpretation, their own interpretation of the scriptures, at the appearance of one man, and follow him, and do his bidding, though it may be contrary to the whims and desires of all else on earth? Or will they reject their Lord? And he said, that's not the right question to ask. Don't answer. Okay, till the Ancient of Days has come, and the hands of the cause will possess the kingdom. Thus he said that 4 great beasts will be the 4th kingdom. It shall be diverse from all other kingdoms, shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. So I don't think the earth has been tread down and broken in pieces yet. And just like this prophecy of Michael, and there will be such a time of trouble, Michael stands up, time of trouble such as was never seen since there was a nation, even to that same time. At that time thy people shall be delivered. Then this is an Old Testament prophecy referring to the Jews being delivered from captivity and being despised. Running out of time here.
What does that have to do with who?
That's the one I just read?
Yeah.
This one is the one about Michael, the great prince, when he stands up. There'll be a time of great trouble, and I'm saying this, devouring the beast, devouring the whole earth, and treading it down and breaking it in pieces. I don't think it's happened yet. Even though World War I, World War II, and somebody asked Shoghi Effendi, World War II, this tempest you've been talking about? Nope.
No, because we've had 100 years, God said, or we were told this is a 100-year respite, and we've had more wars since this respite. And we're involved in it.
If this is a respite.
People started resisting going into the service and being involved in the wars, and different things began to happen that had not happened that much before.
I think what we're
But there's
witnessing,
been non-stop wars over the
Right.
past 100 years.
non-stop greed too, and that whole war economy that just bankrupts every country in the world. Okay, and the 4th, I just want to get these horns real quick. He shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. So now they're saying this king is going to subdue 3 others. Now they don't say, it says 3 before the one, but they don't say what before means. Whether he's standing before the other 3, or they come before him in time. And since we know that they're kings, they don't rule at the same time. Okay, so here the reference to the 1 horn and the 3 horns. One is plucked up by the 3 are plucked, and it says, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. Now, the suggestion that people give is that there's 1 horn going to remain and 3 others will be plucked up by the roots. But it doesn't say that really. It says 3 came before him, plucked up by the roots. So maybe all 4 were plucked up, but in any event, before whom 3 fell, and he shall subdue 3 kings. So, have you all figured this one out? No. Okay. Abdu'l-Baha says, so there are 2 Muawiyah, 3 Yazid, 2 Walid, and 2 Marwan. But if the names were counted without repetition, there would be 10. If these horns were counted without repeating, there would only be 10 horns. And these other 4 horns, I think, are the ones that don't count. What do you think? That's what I think. They don't count. They're the ones that don't count. There's a reference to 4 horns that don't count. And we have 4 rulers who have offspring with the same name. Or the 4 rulers are named after 4 previous rulers. Right, so there you have it.
And these are the rulers of what?
Of the Umayyad. The Caliph. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's because as a direct result of their rejecting Baha'u'llah's tablet.
It was a way of ruling their first kingdom. So that's
And yet he still likes the One more little point I'd like to make. The next verse says about the beast, he shall speak great words against the Most High, shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and shall think change times and laws. Now what are times?
Dates.
Yeah. Lunar calendar. It's all spelled out right there. It's right there. You don't have to look very far to see. What do you know? Everything that Abdu'l-Baha says is true, which we knew anyway. But here it is. Hasn't been explained yet, but that's how we know to go to lunar years and not solar years. Yes, sir?
So the lunar calendar was not something that Muhammad himself endorsed. That was an invention of the Umayyad that came afterwards. Is that what you're saying? Since
Well, you're the one that said that. It's a good question. Does anybody know the answer to that one? Well, this is saying that the beast will change it. Yeah. But the beast actually, you don't know when it started because they were doing that calendar. I don't know. But that sounds good.